Okay, you guys, it's time to stop BSing because we got Dax Sake in the house again. Welcome in, Dax. Thank you for spending your time here. Really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you for inviting me on this beautiful New Year's Eve that we got going on right now.
It is New Year's 2026, and that's funny because it ties in perfectly with what we're doing today. We're going to be talking about Oda's Jump Festa message. Of course, it's been about like a solid week and a half since he actually dropped it. But in the message, he mentioned that we are actually going to get the man marked by flames this year. Kind of a crazy statement to make. That means that he's very confident in that because Oda's timelines are generally really bad. He's acknowledged it before. Like, hey guys, don't take my word for it because, my timing's off. But he seems sold that the man marked by flames will actually show up and that we will actually go to the island where only the Pirate King has actually been, which could be Lodestar, could be Laughtale, could be both. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, I'm really excited. I'm definitely a Lodestar fan, I guess I would say. But like you said, Oda's timelines are not very good. He said that One Piece would be over in 3 years, like 4 years ago, right? So
yeah,
and we're nowhere even close. It's not even like we're on the precipice of it. We're nowhere close. So like I'm a little hesitant to believe Oda that it's going to be like this year, but I do think he's hyping it up because it's on the horizon. Maybe from like his planning perspective, he's like, hey, it might happen this year. Let's start talking about it so, people get ready. So I'm really, really excited, honestly. I've always wondered what is going to go on with Lodestar because ever since we got to Zoe, we learned about the road poneglyphs, which is supposed to be the point of people going to Lodestar, right? And Nami even asked Inuyasha, like, hey, should we even go to Lodestar? Should we keep following the log poses? Is there even a point? And basically, Inuyasha said, well, Crocus actually went to the final island and I didn't, so he knows more than I do, so I would just listen to him no matter what. So they are going to keep following it, and so that's a reason that I've been really excited for Lodestar, so I do think we're going to go there. I don't think that's happening this year. I also don't, like I said, I doubt that the Man Marked by Flames is going to happen this year. But I'm excited Oda's talking about it, I'm excited that it's somewhere on the horizon.
An Oda naysayer. I can't believe it. No, I don't blame you, though. I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, okay, why is Oda so confident in the Man Marked by Flames in 2026? Because when you think about how much we have left in Elbaf, there's a good chunk. Like, unless we go back to Elbaf next chapter, 1171, and we start wrapping things up, I don't know. I guess we could be out of Elbaf in, like, late May, maybe?
See, that's what makes it hard to believe is like we have so much in Elbaf. Like, are we really going to speed past the emu stuff and then leave and then move on to the next island? Because that seems, we just had a 20 chapter flashback. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's hard for me to believe there's 20 chapters left of Elbaf now. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and then think about like the fights and then like sending Emu away, Emu dropping lore, post Elbaf recovery, updates from around the world. Like, there's
Heaven
a
Realm.
lot that we gotta cover. The Heaven Realm, which has never been mentioned, mind you. We had an entire King of Elbaf flashback. No Heaven Realm. What is up with that?
It's got to be something that Oda's saving, right? Like, there's got to be something important up there, which going into, talking about this discussion on how long Elbaf has left, I'm like, the longer that Oda leaves the Heaven Realm to the side and doesn't talk about it, the more I'm convinced there's something massive up there, right? That we're going to have to talk about for a while. Some, lore building stuff, maybe something tied to Uranus, the summit of High West. I've been saying there's going to be a graveyard up there, which might lead to Uruj. There's like all sorts of different options. So the longer he leaves it uncovered, the more I'm like, yeah, there's no way Elbaf is ending soon. That's going to take a while to cover, I feel like.
Yeah, it's kind of like when, if you guys like rent a house or like get an Airbnb or just anything of the sort, and you explore the whole house and you're like, oh, this is cool. I love it. But there's also like a door in the living room. And you're like, I don't know what's behind that door. And it's like locked or something, and at least like a basement. It's like, what is going on back there? Like, it's just that curiosity, brother.
And the longer the landlord doesn't let you go into that room, the more you're like, oh, there's got to be something back there. There's got to be something crazy he doesn't want me to see.
Dead
what I
bodies.
mean? It's not just going to be an empty room. So, yeah, something's going on.
You ever see like those old houses where they have it's the door, but they painted over the door, so you see the outline of it, and you're like, okay, that's creepy. I don't know, man. Something scary's back there.
Yeah, I've been addicted to these videos lately where like there's not that many, but for some reason I keep getting them recommended where people have like a false room in their house that like they just find and like, oh, what's behind this panel? I can feel some wind.
Oh,
What's this secret room? Or like their apartment. Usually there's like an extra room that like they put like a fake wall in front of because the landlord was trying to like, space out the rooms more or whatever. So like, yeah, there's a lot of those. And Oda's doing the same thing.
Yeah, Oda's doing that exact same thing. I hate it. It's horrifying, man. Like I'll see videos where it's like, oh, here's an underground tunnel. Here's like a just a basement or a space in between the walls. It's like, yeah, get me out of here, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Oda's got something hiding in his secret room that is the Heaven Realm.
Yeah.
I can't wait. That's like one of those mysteries that I don't know. Like I was saying, it feels big now that we keep avoiding it. So I'm excited.
It's going to have the world's largest stash of hockey knots. They're all just going to be up there.
Honestly, though, Sai, you think about, Weatheria, Haradas, like they're up in the sky and they had the wind knots. And so if we're going to go to the Heaven Realm, which is up in the sky, probably, like, I don't know.
Find all the knots up there, which I do got to say, I don't think hockey knots, jokes aside, surely they're not made from just regular rope. There's got to be like some sort of special material they get to make it. Could be up there. Could actually be up there.
Yeah.
So, because Oda's so confident in the man marked by flames, how do you feel about the idea that they come to Elbaf and that's why he's so confident? Because it's not a thing where we have to leave the island. They simply come to us, or maybe they're in the Heaven Realm.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think if we're going to get the man marked by flames in 2026, that's how it's going to happen, right? He's going to come find us. He's going to come to Elbaf because, like I was saying, us like getting through the emu stuff and leaving and getting the Lodestar and meeting the man marked by flames, that's just like a lot in like 34 chapters or so that we're going to have in the year, right? But if the man marked by flames pulled up, or honestly, like it, we don't even know who it is. So like it could be someone that we kind of already know. And it's like, the mystery, like depending on what the mystery is, it could be a lot easier to happen within Elbaf depending on who it is. So it might make some sense. But like in general, like I think it kind of makes more sense to find him in Lodestar because like I was saying, like if we have all 4 road poneglyphs, we don't even really need to go there depending on how Laughtale ties into it. Like maybe you have to go there first to like get access to it or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why Crocus told us we should go there anyway. But it would make more sense to get it at Lodestar. So that way, like, Oda doesn't give us the final piece before we get to Lodestar. So that way we aren't given a reason to skip it, if that makes sense. So I sort of doubt we will, but it would make more sense to fit during this year, I think.
Yeah. And Lodestar is just one of those islands where I wouldn't say it's been built up a lot, but it's something to look forward to on your journey, right? It is the final island. I guess my one thing, and this is just like a nitpick, I'm shocked that Lodestar is the island that only the Pirate King was able to reach. How's that possible? Brother, it's on the log posts. You know what I mean? It's like saying, oh yeah, nobody's ever been to McDonald's. It's like, wait, what? It's like down the road. What are we talking about?
And you think about how, like, they learn about the road poneglyphs there, and I just think, well, so somebody had to be there to put the information that you read to learn about that, right? So somebody was definitely there before. They must be saying nobody's been there since 800 years ago or something. But even then, whenever I read that panel, like, personally, I almost read it more like, I forget the exact way they phrased it, but I almost think he means more, we are the first pirate crew to follow the log pose till the end, which is different than being the first to go to Lodestar. Because if you stumble upon it, or you have a fruit that lets you find it, like you have a bird fruit, or maybe Kid's magnet fruit can like detect it. If you can do that, then you could get there without the log pose. So personally, that's how I'm reading it, because it does feel kind of unbelievable that nobody else would have just found it because it is on the log pose. Like, it's essentially on the map, right? So
yeah.
So I feel like people have been there, and people probably live there, honestly. I bet you there's like a group of people from there. I just think they're the first to actually follow the log pose till the end, because that would be, a little bit of a distinction, but still make what they said true, I suppose.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. People have said, "Oh, but Sai, like to get there, you have to go to Wano, you have to go to Egghead and Elbaf." It's like, no, you don't. Like, you could technically just sail. Like, you can avoid all the islands if you wanted to.
Well, it depends on how long the log post takes to calibrate, right?
Yeah,
then you'd have to
you
at
could just
least
like
stay there, right? But the thing is like, you know, you could stay off the coast, and also like you think about Egghead, for example. I mean, Vegapunk didn't even take it over till like 4 years ago, right? So I'm just thinking about the path there. Like, there probably is a path because you can take multiple routes, right? Especially in the New World.
Yeah,
and it's like I feel like somebody over the course of time would have just taken a path of least resistance. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Like I said, I feel like it's just, you know, like Roger was the only one to actually make the log post trip because, like I said, with flying fruits or even flying ships or kids devil fruit, there's got to be other options to find it. So yeah, or like the government, right? Like, you're telling me they never bothered checking out what's there and learning about the road poneglyphs or something? Like, somebody had to stop.
They
there,
never
right?
just followed the compass.
Yeah, like they had to have thought about it, I feel like. Now, one thing I will say is we did learn in, you know, the Law novel, which like is that canon, not technically, but it like sort of is, like the info could be. We learned that there was a guy from like sometime in the past 100 years named Captain Ladoga, who was said to be the first man to make it to the New World and back, which like kind of gives an idea that maybe pirates weren't going to the New World until recently, or at least because people were born there, but at least traveling to there easily. And so that might give some credence to the idea that maybe nobody made it because sailing just became more prevalent over the last 100 years or so. But yeah, it does feel weird, no matter what, that like the Straw had to be the second group to get there. That just feels not true, you know?
How would you feel if Lodestar, because I'm thinking about what kind of island will it be? What if it's like Jaya in a way, where the reason why Roger and the crew knew that that wasn't the final island was because part of it was missing?
I know. I tried turning on my other light, and it was at max brightness because the power turned off last night, and I was like, I want the other one on. And usually it turns on to the lowest setting, but it was like God.
I thought you were
God
being
was like,
abducted.
let there be light. You know?
Oh my god! It's like the last thing you see when your friend gets pulled up by aliens.
The UFO just pulled up. Emu and the Gorosei showed up on the Lelucia weapon to erase
funny,
my
dude.
house from what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying? That was so distracting.
So sidetracked. Yeah. I was saying, how could the Roger pirates know that Lodestar wasn't the final island? Could it, being like Jaya, be a possibility where we got to Jaya and there wasn't like an obvious statement like, oh, like half of the island's missing, but it was mainly a thing where we got there and Nolan's house was like a dead giveaway, where like we only saw like a part of it and like,
Right.
oh, this is a weird design, and then we find out it's because it's missing the other half of the island, and then also like Jaya is the skull, but also it doesn't look anything like the skull because it's missing half of it. I wonder if Laughtale will be the same way, where Laughtale is just part of Lodestar Island that got separated during the Void Century.
I actually really like that idea. And going back to what I said earlier about how like Crocus told them to go to Lodestar despite him knowing that the real target is Laughtale. He brought up Raftel as well because, well, he said like go to the final island on the Grand Line, which is Raftel, and then on Zoe, Nami was like, wait, Crocus said that was the final island, but now you're telling me there's this other one. What am I supposed to do? And Yurashi said, go there anyway. And so I think whenever you think about that, it's like, it kind of ties those two islands together in a way where it's almost like you do have to go to Lodestar to get to Laughtale in a way. And so I do wonder if what you're saying is true, where like, I don't know if Laughtale is like right above or right below Lodestar, but maybe it is part of the island that got moved, and so it is really close. I feel like it would make more sense to be like under the ocean, because then it is like the inversion of Skypiea, right? Like maybe it almost is like in a Lelucia situation where like it got pushed down to the bottom, right? And so we have to go there. So I really like that because like I said, it makes sense now based off just all the Crocus stuff, that there would be a connection. Like maybe we go to Lodestar and are like, well, we don't have the last poneglyph and we don't know where to go. I guess let's like restart, or I don't know what they're going to say. And then maybe somebody comes over, like the man marked by flames, and they have it. And then that's when they realize, wait, we're here. Like it's right. We just have to walk over this way and do some certain, steps to figure it out. So I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that idea.
Yeah, and now what kind of island will it be? Because we have been getting pretty wacky. Island of Giants, Island from the Future, Japan, Giant Elephant, half ice, half lava, Fishman Island, Dressrosa. Like, we've tackled so many different locations. Pretty much every archetype of island has kind of been tackled. What do you think Lodestar will be like?
That is a good question. Like, I don't know if I've ever really thought about it much. Like, I have the first thought that came to mind, and I don't know why. I think there's a theory on this somewhere that I was trying to look up, but I'm not able to find it. Is it might be like a Western type place, because like we kind of saw one in God Valley that God Valley looked kind of Western style, but like we didn't spend like the Straw Hats didn't go there, right?
Yeah.
And then what's another one? Like Bonaro Island, where Ace and Blackbeard fought, looked kind of Western, but obviously the Straw Hats didn't go there either. And so that might make some sense, as like we finally get a place like that. I mean, other than that, I mean, it's kind of this might be kind of a boring answer, but I could see it being just like a very basic, like almost like Long Ring Longland almost, where it's just like an empty plain with like trees, and I could see it being something like relatively empty. Because remember, if nobody's been there, supposedly, if that's true, then there wouldn't be buildings, right? There wouldn't be a lot to like write home about. So I could see it being like just a really empty place. So the Straw Hats are like, well, nothing's here. Like that's sort of like the feeling, right? There's nothing, there's no treasure. Let's go. And then they find out, oh no, wait, like the best treasure is actually hidden away, somewhere. You just needed the poneglyphs to find it. So I'm not really convinced of either of them, but that's just the first couple things that came to mind. What do you think? Do you have any ideas for this?
No, I don't really have like any grandiose ideas. I guess if I had to play with like headcanon, like what I would want, I would really enjoy like a magical or just fantasy setting. Which, I mean, obviously World of One Piece already kind of fantastical, but like Knights and Dragons, Merlin, just something Arturian, I would say. I think would be pretty awesome.
We haven't really had that, have we? Really?
You could say like we had inklings of it in Roto's Playhouse, where it's like there's a castle and a temple and stuff, but yeah, it's all fake, and it's all Legos.
And Usopp brought up Excalibur, so
yeah, I think I would just want like something very Game of Thronesy.
I think that'd be cool. I think If it's not an empty island, going back to how nobody's been there supposedly, then like there would, if there's architecture at all, it should be like really old, right, from like the past. So given that the ancient kingdom was high tech, I could see, I don't know if it would be like an advanced island, but I could at least see some like really cool buildings or architecture because of that. Because if you're advanced, like, I mean, there's probably not like a limit to what you're able to do. So I could see that, where it's like a bunch of old down run buildings from the past that they had. One thing I always think about is like with the flood, you look at Impel Down, which we think of as an underwater prison, but if there wasn't floods, it might have just been a normal castle, right? That's kind of what it looks like a really tall castle just underwater. And so that's always made me think, like, if that really was something from the ancient kingdom that they like took over, I could see, because it's obviously like a giant stone castle, maybe we're going to see something like that where we do have some, like maybe that was what their architecture was like. They had a lot of kind of stone buildings and things to kind of mirror like some, I don't even know, some medieval sort of castle stuff. So maybe.
Yeah, or it could just be like a giant star.
Lodestar is? We did hear about the pole star, right? That you follow.
I don't know why. I'm just thinking about like Rainbow Road now. Like, could Rainbow Road be like a possibility?
That might be how we get from Lodestar to Laughtale, maybe.
Yeah. There's like a specific spot on the ocean that you ride up, and it is
Yeah,
like Rainbow Road.
yeah, like you know how in Apu's time skip, he like started walking on air, and we still don't have like really any idea what that was about. I could see almost something like that, where there's like a path that looks like it isn't there, like it's invisible or something. And so going back to Rainbow Road, because Rainbow Road's like just a floating rainbow that people ride on, which like we saw that in Elbaf a little bit already. But maybe we can, yeah, maybe there is a way there that's similar to that. I don't know, the way the story's shaping up too. It's like hard for me to see Lodestar being like its own thing, and then we have to leave that and go to Laughtale separately, because it's like, how much time is left? Like, we would save a lot of time if Oda just put Laughtale there. So,
or like nearby, like you said.
Yeah, like they just gotta. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're gonna sail into space and it's up there, or they sail to the bottom of the ocean. Like, I don't know what Oda's gonna do, but it would make sense that it's hidden away. Yeah, honest. And another thing that I was thinking about that would make some sense here is Logtown, because Logtown is on the Pole Star Islands, right? That always made me feel like some connection to Lodestar, especially because they mentioned the Pole Star recently. Harold did. And so I could see it also being somewhat like Logtown in a way. I don't know if Logtown necessarily had like a lot of architecture to write home about, but I could see at least some parallel there for sure. Maybe there's just like some like gallows in the middle, and that's it.
That'd be crazy. Yeah, it just gets like very depressive. Like that's Lodestar's whole shtick. Like, you go there, there's just like dead bodies and statues everywhere. To all the adventurers who made it here.
Yeah, and maybe that's it, because also you got to think. Actually, that's a really good point to think about, because if you're gonna ride or follow the log poses all the way to Lodestar, then how do you get back? Because like, where do the log poses aren't pointing you anymore, right? Like, doesn't it cease to work because you've made it to the end? And then the red line's right in front of you. And does I don't think Reverse Mountain has an opening to the New World, right? It's like the 4 blues into the Grand Line.
Yeah.
So what if there are just a ton of dead adventurers, and so the story about Roger being the first to get there is it's actually more like he's the first to get there and leave, right? Because the rest of them couldn't do that.
There's like something that traps you on the island.
Yeah, because like I was saying, if the log poses stop working, you don't. I mean, if you have a good navigator, you should be able to figure out. Okay, well, but you have to go over the calm belt then, actually. So, I guess you'd either have to have a really good sense of direction and turn around and be able to get to Elbaf or Egghead or whatever island it is. But yeah, you wouldn't be able to do the log poses for that. So maybe, honestly, I like that idea, because Oda could also add the lore of like all these sailors, were low on supplies by the time they got here, and because like it was the end of the journey, and so then none of them could survive after this because they found an empty island. But a little did they know there was way more treasure to be found or something,
I remember back when I was a kid, there was a One Piece game, and they had one like really cool location in it that I always thought would be cool if they implemented that into the world of One Piece, which you could say that they kind of have already. But it was back before we knew what the Grand Line was, because the game was like early East Blue. It was very early on, and the Grand Line, to our knowledge, was essentially a graveyard of ships, is what they called it. And in the game, like, you go into this mist, and there's just a bunch of like ships everywhere, all broken and tattered, and it just creates its own island. And I was like, oh, that'd be so sick. Cool. And it does remind me of, obviously Oda. He does take inspiration from Pirates of the Caribbean. But in Pirates of the Caribbean, that is where all the pirate lords meet up. There's like a hidden pirate island that is exclusively made of pirate ships. Like, they all just crashed and collided, and it made its own island.
And what's interesting about that, too, is in Laboon's stomach, which is like another like fake island of sorts, right? Yeah. It's like not really an island, but it is. there was a ton of sunken ships under it, which just sort of ties that idea of like, you know, not really an island, but a lot of broken ships, you know, being there or whatever. So that would be sort of cool because like, so what if Lodestar is actually, you know, just like the log pose is taking you there, but it's not actually an island. So that's why everyone went there. And so then they crashed their ships because they're like, well, we don't know where to go now, right? Like we don't have direction. And so then their ship crashed. And so over time, all those ships became an island. So I actually would really like that because it's almost like, it's like Lodestar, the point was always leading you to Laughtale. You just didn't know, you know, until now where like you get the poneglyph context or whatever. I think that would be really awesome where like, that mark was just like a point in the ocean, and everyone's like, "Hey, what? Like, where do I? Okay, what are we supposed to look for?" And then over time, it just became an island of ships, like the Pacific Garbage Patch, almost. Right?
Yeah.
That would be so cool. I feel like.
And there's a way to make it work too, because one thing we could say is that when a ship gets destroyed, it sinks into the ocean, right? And we know that there's a lot of underwater currents that have existed for hundreds and thousands of years. I forgot the latest one. I believe they mentioned like there's a... Yes, when we were on Fishman Island and we saw one of the deep sea currents, I forgot if it was Nami or Robin, but they mentioned that some deep sea currents have been existent for 2,000 years. It would be cool if Laughtale really was, or Lodestar, was just an island where these ships sank, and boom, the underwater currents take it all the way to Laughtale, and the ships just keep on crashing together, so it makes that island.
Yeah.
And it could be like a nice little play where it's like, oh, like these pirates, even though they died, they all set off for the One Piece, and they all made it there, even in death.
Mm-hmm.
Their wishes made it.
Right. That symbolism is maybe the coolest part, where it's like we get a visual of all the people who technically fell short right before the finish line. In like they made it, but they didn't really make it, you know? And I think that visual of like, you know, for Luffy, it's like, Luffy, look how many people tried to do this and died doing it, and now like you're about to succeed. And it's like, it's cool from the perspective of like Luffy, you know, like having a really big accomplishment, seeing how many people failed to do it. But it's also a thing where it's like, you know, Luffy, like there's all these wills that, you know, failed, and now you're kind of carrying it because you're the one who got it, so you got to be kind of responsible with it, if that sort of makes sense. Like avenge these guys. These guys were just like you in a way, and so you need to like use this for a good reason. Like I think that would have some gravitas for Luffy to look at and just think like he knows a lot of people have died trying, but to get that visual, like, wow, even right here at the finish line there was this many, like I would love that. I would eat that up.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, obviously, I don't like the way this place looked, but we could also get, like, a little thing where Laughtale kind of looks like Donachino's room, where you see just a bunch of Jolly Rogers in it.
Oh, that would be sweet.
Just Jolly Rogers from all throughout the years, which, you know, if we're saying that ships sink and then get followed through this deep sea current, we could see the Going Merry burned. So that won't be possible. But we'll see Kid and Law's ship, though, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a little bit of hope that Law's ship will get fixed. The hope is definitely dwindling, but if you read the Law novel, the Polar Tang has a very sentimental origin. And so I feel bad that it's broken. That's something that Oda hasn't touched on at all in the actual story, and I'm kind of sad. Because it's like such a good story in the novel on how he got it, but submarines are hard to come by. Also, you know, it's not like you can go to a basic shipwright spot. Like I don't even know if Galley Law is going to be able to help you. You know what I mean? So, I hope I have some hope he gets it fixed, but I sort of doubt it. But Kid's ship, I mean, look, man, they're near Elbaf, right? So they got the Atom Tree. They can make a new ship. So.
I hope. I mean, I feel the same way about Kid's ship, too. Like, there's so much, like, love behind that ship. Because Kid and Killer, they named it after their childhood crush who's dead.
Right.
And it's like, man, like, just, why'd we have to get rid of the ship? I remember that happened. That chapter came out, and one, as a Kid fan, that kind of hurt. But two, I was just like, damn, Dory Brogy, like, I'm not going to look at you guys the same anymore. Jeez. Destroyed his ship? Come on.
I know. That's... that. It's kind of tough. I mean, like, you know, Kid was coming in guns blazing, so it's like he was asking for it. But yeah, it is like, it's like for us, like thinking about the Sunny. Like if the Sunny ever got destroyed, that would be like so devastating. I mean, remember in Whole Cake when like the Sunny almost got, you know, cooked by the Big Mama Shanter, one of my favorite ships, by the way.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's such a cool name, but
it is a cool name.
But then Watatsumi saved him. But yeah, like for sure, I don't know. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because it's like you didn't have to destroy the ship, you know? I mean, Kid was already just about dead, but
insult to injury.
They had to show off.
So, one of the last few things I would ask you, Dax, before we get out of here pretty soon, but when it comes to the man marked by flames, do you want it personally to be a brand new character or just somebody we've met before?
You know, my theory on it has always been Mass Deuce, and so I'm going to use him as a template, because even if it's not him, I like kind of where his role is and how it compares to the man marked by flames.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I want it to be a completely new person that we've never, ever heard of, but I do want it to be someone from the past that, like, makes a lot of sense where we're very shocked by it, right? So, like, you know, if it ended up being Barbell or Sunbell or, you know, something
you know
like
exactly
that.
what I'm going to.
Yeah, so like something like that, like I wouldn't mind it, because like it's similar in that we're bringing someone back from the past, so like we know them and it's like just giving them a more important role, so I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't want it to be a brand new person, and I also don't want it to be like, you know, a lot of people have talked about like, oh, maybe Harold is actually still alive, which I doubt after this last chapter, but is Harold still alive, and could he be the man marked by flames? Like, I wouldn't want something like that, because, like, he's been so important, especially recently because of the flashback, even though that was in the past, but to us it's recent. And I wouldn't want him to, like, show up again as, like, another major role, like, you know, so I want a little, basically a side character, or at least a character that, like, we thought was done, but they're really not, you know? And I also don't want it to be someone super duper powerful. I think it'd be cooler if it's someone who's smart or cunning or is weak, but, you know, if they do work with the government, they're just given, you know, the protection by them, so like it still works. I want the man marked by flames to just be an interesting person, not like a powerful, scary person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Man,
that's where I'm at.
If Barbell really is that guy, whew, it would make so much sense. I mean, you know, the thing with Barbell, right? We talked about it earlier. One of the ideas was that, oh yeah, you know, underwater currents. Oh, maybe it's sunk like Lelouch and we have to go underwater. We have to look for it. Barbell would technically be the best person for that because he's a fishman. And, you know, jokes aside, I mean, there is a good chance that he is related to Sunbell. Just because of the names, right? Barbell, Sunbell, they looked about the same age. One on Rox's crew, one on Roger's crew. And, you know, people are like, oh, but why would Barbell have the poneglyph? Well, it could be because of Sunbell. You know, maybe Sunbell was like, hey, brother, let's look after Laughtale. Let's look after this last poneglyph, which is on Fishman Island. That's the one that went missing. Mm-hmm. So Barbell being that guy, I think is just a lot of fun. And plus, he is surprisingly the one character that did not leave God Valley. We didn't see him leave God Valley. I thought that was really odd, because at God Valley, we saw that there were a lot of ships, right? Everybody's taking a ship and leaving. There was one ship, which obviously when the anime gets there, it could be very different, so keep that in mind. But one of the ships was actually black in the manga, and that was the Marine prisoner ship. So I was like, yo, what if Barbell hopped on that ship to leave? Like, the black ship is literally a Marine ship, which is why Shiryu was like, oh, maybe they work for the world government. It's because of that ship. And as far as the whirlpools go, we know that fishmen can do that. They just hop in the water and they swim in circles. So there is like a non-zero chance that Barbell and Sunbell are actually the men marked by flames. And of course, Barbell had the fire hair, which is always kind of funny, right? You look at Barbell and you're like, okay, something's up with this guy. Why does he have fire hair? And then you look at Rox's logo, his Jolly Roger, and it also has fire hair. I was like, okay, wait, Rox doesn't have that. Why does he have like a Jolly Roger of essentially Barbell? There's something there, man.
And Afro Luffy had that during the Davy back fights, which is like a Rox connected thing, right? So now it's like, what's with what's the flaming hair talk? And I feel like it's either, Gear 5th hair that's on fire, or maybe, I don't know, some kind of Davy Jones stuff. Maybe Davy Jones had his hair on fire. Whenever I think about that, have you heard the legend that, like, Blackbeard in real life, from the Golden Age of Pirates, he, like, used to light his beard on fire?
Oh, to scare his opponents, right?
Yeah, like, he would light some of his hair on fire to, like, scare his opponents. And so I'm wondering, like, does Davy Jones maybe have some flaming hair going on as well, so that him and Joy Boy kind of parallel in that way? And then, yeah, I don't know how that all would really connect to this, because it's just like, imagine Davy Jones is still alive and is the man marked by flames. That would be insane. But maybe Barbell for the same reason, though, because he's got the flaming hair like these other guys, right? So I wouldn't be shocked by him, honestly. He's probably like my third option, I would say.
Oh, really?
I would say so. I mean, Mass Deuce is far and away number 1. I would say Tom is number 2. But Barbell's probably number 3.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about, man. It's crazy. I don't know, man. Like, it's just, Barbell feels like one of those jokes that I've, like, talked into reality. So hearing you say that you actually think it could be Barbell is like, wait a minute. This is awesome, dude.
Well, we didn't see him during God Vat. Like, we saw him show up, but we didn't see him do anything. And I do think that's like Oda, you showed us every other person do something kind of important, like Gloriosa and Stussy just kind of followed the guys around that they loved or whatever. Like, they didn't really do anything that special, but a lot of the other guys did important stuff. They're at least trying to, like, steal the treasure or screw each other over or whatever. We didn't see him do, like, anything in the flashback. So I think there's a reason for it.
One thing about him too is that, like, at least for Gloriosa and Stussy, they played roles in the current story. They have. They are relevant characters. Every one of the Rocks Pirates members, somewhat relevant to current day, or just in the past in general. Barbell, no. Barbell has not gotten that love. It makes you wonder.
Yep. The only thing for me is, I always think back to, like, how did they get the Poneglyph? Because Neptune would have to agree with this, or at least if he didn't agree with letting them take it, then we should have heard about it, right? Somebody, Jinbei, should have said, oh yeah, somebody stole our road Poneglyph a few years ago. He should have already brought this up, to be honest with you, like, whatever happened to it. So in my mind, I'm guessing that he's, like, sworn to secrecy on it, like, or at least that he doesn't know, and Neptune told him, like, don't worry about it type of thing. Like, yeah, we moved it for safekeeping. I'm not going to tell you where for your own good, but just know it's safe, sort of thing. And so then it's like, well, how would Barbell have had that connection with the Fishmen? Obviously, he is a Fishman, but he was also on, like, a kind of a bad pirate crew. Like, I think they were at least, like, thought of as bad guys for the most part. And I would argue they kind of were. Like, they weren't horrible, but definitely a mixed bag of, goodness.
Ruffians.
And so I don't know if the Fishmen would, like, if Neptune would be like, oh yeah, you're the perfect guy to take our secret red Poneglyph that Roger needed to find the final island. Like, that just, feels like he would give it to somebody he really trusts, like Whitebeard, for example, which is why I really love Mass Deuce, because he was on Whitebeard's ship for a long time. Or like Tom, because Den has already been in the Sea Forest, so Tom would probably be on good standing with them for sure, especially Den. So that would make sense. So we'd have to figure out what Barbell's sort of relationship is with the Fishman royalty, is kind of the biggest thing for me. But I mean, he's a Fishman, so, like, he has a way better excuse than a lot of people. So I think he works.
It also could just be like Sunbell's reputation too. Like, maybe Barbell they wouldn't trust it with, but Sunbell they do. Like, oh, Sunbell for you? All right. But Barbell, watch out for him. I don't like Barbell.
Yeah. Yeah, like, they could say, like, you, but your brother can't touch it. And then he's like, well, actually, here's the thing. Like, and what I think he would say is, like, they're going to expect me to have it because I was on Roger's crew. And I know, like, what Laughtale says. Like, they're expecting me to have it. If my brother takes it, they aren't even thinking about him because the Rocks Pirates disbanded and he's been, not doing a whole lot. So maybe he argues with them, like, we should let my brother take it because then they aren't gonna, they're tracking me, maybe was his point. Like, they're keeping tabs on all of us. If I take it, they're gonna find it. I got to give it to my brother. Like, that would That would honestly make some sense, and that would explain why it's only one of them and not both teaming up. Where he's like, they're gonna find you then. So I like that.
Yeah, shoutouts to Barbell 2026. You guys heard it here first. Let us know what you guys think about the Barbell Man Marked by Flames theory. Mass Deuce, Tom. Let us know what you think about Lodestar Island. Are we going to go there this year? Will the Man Marked by Flames come to us, or will we go to them? Let us know all your thoughts and theories down below. And major shoutouts to Dax Sake. Thank you again, brother, for hopping on this video. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Make sure to
Pleasure.
check him out at Dax Sake and or Redacted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a lot coming this year on Redacted, including Psy. We're actually about to record right after this, so
Oh, yeah.
definitely check it out.
So stay tuned for that, y'all. He'll be linked down below. And hopefully you guys had a great time here. Peace out.
Peace out, guys.